The morning sun hit the metal walls of New Gyeongju Colony. Lieutenant Jae-ho Kim woke up before his alarm. Next to his bed, on a large cushion, slept Dusk. The massive black dog opened one amber eye as Jae-ho moved. "Morning, partner," Jae-ho said quietly. Dusk was not a normal dog. He stood nearly as tall as a human at the shoulder. His black fur was thick and seemed to absorb light. The amber eyes glowed slightly in darkness. Along his spine ran a thin line of metal implants that connected to a small device at the base of his skull. Humans called these animals Hellhounds. Jae-ho touched the matching device behind his own ear. Immediately he felt the familiar warmth of Dusk's mind connecting with his. They shared no words, only feelings and images. Dusk was hungry. He also sensed danger outside the colony walls today. "I feel it too," Jae-ho said, pulling on his uniform. The dark blue fabric had armor plates built in. On the shoulder was a patch showing a dog's head with glowing eyes above the words, "The last line." The mess hall was filled with soldiers and their hellhounds. Jae-ho grabbed a tray of food for himself and a large bowl of protein-rich meat for Dusk. They sat at a table with 3 others from their unit. "Sleep well?" asked Captain Sunmi Park. Her hellhound Ember had rusty red fur and calm eyes. Unlike the playful Dusk, Ember rarely moved unless needed. But when she did, she was the fastest hellhound in the unit. "Well enough," Jae-ho said. "Dusk feels something's off today." Sergeant Hajun Lee looked up from his breakfast. His hellhound Storm was gray with white patches and the biggest of all the dogs. "Storm has been restless too," he said. "Maybe the Void is testing our borders. Again." The Void sovereignty was why they were all here. The alien force had been pushing into human space for years. New Gyeongju was the last major human colony in this sector. If it fell, Earth would be next. "First patrol today, right?" This came from Private Jiwoo Choi, the newest member of their team. Her hellhound Flare was smaller than the others with golden fur. What she lacked in size, she made up for in energy. Even now, Flare paced around their table, eager to get outside. "Yes, you're with us," Sunmi said. "Stay close to Jae-ho. He has the most experience with the outer perimeter." After breakfast, they walked to the armory. Each person collected their weapon, a pulse rifle that could switch between stunning and killing modes. The hellhounds were fitted with their own gear. Light armor covered their vital areas. Small weapons were mounted on their sides, controlled through the neural link with their handlers. "Remember," Jae-ho told Jiwoo as they checked their equipment, "the link is everything. If you lose connection with Flare, you're both in danger. The Void can sense when a hellhound is unlinked." Jiwoo nodded, touching the device behind her. Ear nervously. "We've only been linked for 6 months. Sometimes the connection feels thin." "It gets stronger with time," Jae-ho assured her. "Dusk and I have been together for 3 years. Now it feels like he's always in my head, even when we sleep." Through their link, Dusk sent feelings of agreement and loyalty. Jae-ho smiled. The key. 4 humans and their hellhounds left the safety of the inner colony, passing through 3 security checkpoints. At each one, both humans and hellhounds were scanned to make sure their neural links were secure. The outer perimeter of New Gyeongju was a wasteland. Once it had been forests and fields, but the fighting had destroyed most plant life. Now it was a battlefield of broken ground, bomb craters and defensive walls. "We'll split into 2 teams," Sunmi said. "Ha-jun and I will take the west section. Jae-ho, you and Jiwoo cover the east. Keep radio contact every 30 minutes. Jae-ho nodded and motioned for Jiwoo to follow him. Their hellhounds trotted ahead, sniffing the air and ground for any signs of Void presence. "How do you know where to look?" Jiwoo asked as they walked. "The perimeter is huge." "I don't know," Jae-ho said. "Dusk does. The hellhounds can smell Void technology from a mile away. Something about the metals they use gives off a scent our dogs can detect." They walked for an hour without seeing anything unusual. Then Dusk suddenly stopped, his body going rigid. Through their link, Jae-ho felt alarm and focus. "Down," he whispered to Jiwoo, pulling her behind a broken wall. "Dusk senses something." Both hellhounds pressed their bodies low to the ground, ears forward, every muscle tense. Jeho closed his eyes and let his mind sink deeper into the link with dusk. He could now smell what dusk smelled, a strange metallic odor coming from the east. "There," he said, pointing to a ridge about half a mile away. "Void scouts. Probably a small group checking our defenses." Jiwoo looked worried. "Should we call it in?" "Not yet. Let's get closer and see how many there are." They moved carefully from cover to cover, the hellhounds always a few steps ahead. As they got closer to the ridge, Jeho could see through Dusk's eyes, sharper and better at detecting movement than human eyes. 3 Void soldiers moved along the ridge. They looked almost human, but their skin was pale gray and they had no hair. Each carried a weapon that could fire energy bolts hot enough to melt through armor. "Just 3, Jeho whispered. "We can handle this. Tell Flare to circle around behind them. Dusk and I will approach from the front." Jiwoo closed her eyes, concentrating on her link with Flare. The golden hellhound immediately understood and slipped away, moving in a wide arc to get behind the Void scouts. "Ready your weapon," Jeho told Jiwoo. "When I give the signal, we'll move up the ridge. Dusk will attack the one on the left, Flare will take the one on the right, we'll handle the middle one." They waited a few minutes for Flare to get into position. Then Jeho sent a mental command to Dusk. "Now." The black hellhound burst from cover, racing up the ridge with incredible speed. At the same moment, Flare appeared behind the Void scouts, cutting off their retreat. The aliens raised their weapons, but the hellhounds were too fast. Dusk leaped, his massive jaws closing around the arm of one scout. The alien's weapon fell to the ground. Jeho and Jiwoo ran up the ridge, firing their pulse rifles. The middle scout was hit squarely in the chest and fell. The third tried to aim at Flare, but the hellhound was already on him, knocking him down. In less than a minute, all 3 Void scouts were disabled. "Good work," Jeho said, checking to make sure all the aliens were unconscious. "Not bad for your first patrol." Jiwoo looked pale but proud. That was... She didn't finish her sentence. A loud alarm sounded from the colony behind them. They turned to see flashes of light in the sky, Void ships entering the atmosphere. This wasn't a scouting party, Jeho realized. It was a distraction. He activated his radio. "Captain, we've engaged 3 Void scouts on the eastern perimeter, but there are ships coming in. This looks like a full attack." Sunmi's voice came back, tense but controlled. "Get back to the colony now. All teams return to defense positions. This is not a drill." As they ran back toward New Gyeongju, more alarms joined the first. The sky filled with Void ships, more than Jeho had ever seen. "What do we do?" Jiwoo asked, fear in her voice. Jeho felt Dusk's mind press against his, calm, ready, unafraid. "We do our job," he said. "We are the last line. When everything else fails, we don't." Together, the humans and their hellhounds raced toward the colony and the battle that awaited them. Morning light showed the damage from the night before. The outer wall of New Gyeongju had holes in 3 places. Buildings near the wall were destroyed. Smoke still rose from many fires. Medical teams moved through the streets, helping the wounded. Jeho and Dusk stood on top of a guard tower, looking at the destruction. Through their mental link, they shared feelings of sadness and anger. "Lieutenant Kim, report to command center," said a voice over his radio. Jeho patted Dusk's side. "Come on, boy. Duty calls." The command center was in the middle of the colony, deep underground. It had survived the attack without damage. Inside, officers moved quickly between computer stations. Maps on large screens showed the colony and surrounding areas. Captain Sunmi was already there with Ember. So were Hajun and Storm. Jiwoo and Flare arrived just after Jeho. "Good. You're all here," said Colonel Taewon Kang, the leader of all military forces in New Gyeongju. He was an older man with a serious face and many battle scars. "The attack last night was just the beginning. Our sensors detect a much larger Void force on the way." He pointed to a map. 3 outer settlements have gone dark. No communications, no signals of any kind. We need to know what happened. "My team can check," Sunmi offered. "That's why I called you," the colonel said. The last line is our best scout unit, but be careful. This feels different from normal Void tactics. After the meeting, the team collected supplies for the mission. They would need to travel light and fast. We leave in 1 hour, Sunmi told them. Check your gear and your links. We may be out there for several days. As Jae-ho was preparing, a woman in a white lab coat approached him. She had kind eyes and moved with quick, precise steps. Lieutenant Kim? I'm Dr. Mireille Kang. I work with the Hellhound program. Yes, doctor. What can I do for you? I heard you're going to the outer settlements, she said. I need to come with you. Jae-ho was surprised. It's going to be dangerous. We expect Void forces out there. I understand, but I need to check the Hellhound relay stations in those settlements. They boost the neural link signals. If they're damaged, your links could fail when you're far from the colony. Jae-ho didn't like the idea of taking a civilian, but he understood the importance of the relay stations. Without them, the connection between humans and Hellhounds would weaken with distance. I'll ask Captain Park, he said. Sunmi agreed to let Dr. Kang join them, though she wasn't happy about it. She stays in the middle of our formation at all times, she ordered. They left New Gyeongju through a small gate on the north side. Each human carried a pack with food, water, and medical supplies. The Hellhounds carried nothing but their armor. They would hunt for their own food. The group moved quickly across the open ground, then entered a forest that had somehow survived the fighting. The trees provided good cover from any Void ships that might fly overhead. The closest settlement is Green Valley, Sunmi said. We should reach it by nightfall. They walked in silence for hours. The Hellhounds ranged ahead, using their enhanced senses to watch for danger. Through their mental links, the humans could see and hear what their partners detected. Around midday, dusk suddenly froze. Through their link, Jae-ho felt alarm. Something ahead, he whispered to the others. The team took cover behind trees and rocks. The Hellhounds gathered close, their bodies tense and ready. What is it? Sunmi asked. Jae-ho focused on his link with dusk, seeing through the Hellhound's eyes. Void Patrol. About 10 soldiers. They have some kind of new equipment with them. Dr. Kang looked worried. Can you see what it is? Jae-ho concentrated harder. Looks like a small tower with lights on top. They're setting it up in a clearing. We should avoid them, Ha-jun suggested. Go around. No, Dr. Kang said firmly. I need to see that device. It might affect the neural links. Sunmi considered their options. Jae-ho, take Jiwoo and circle around the clearing. See if you can get a better look without being spotted. The rest of us will wait here. Jae-ho nodded. Come on, rookie. Stay close and stay quiet. He and Jiwoo moved carefully through the forest, their Hellhounds leading the way. They kept low to the ground, using trees and bushes for cover. They reached the edge of a small clearing. In the center, Void soldiers worked on the strange device. It was about as tall as a human, with a thin spire on top. Lights pulsed along its surface. What do you think it is? Jiwoo whispered. Before Jae-ho could answer, the device activated. A wave of energy spread outward from it, invisible but felt by both humans and Hellhounds. Jae-ho gasped as his link with dusk suddenly weakened. It felt like someone had pulled a warm blanket off him on a cold night. Beside him, dusk whined softly, clearly feeling the same discomfort. Through their weakened link, Jae-ho could feel Dusk's confusion and fear. The Hellhound pressed closer to him as if physical contact might strengthen their connection. We need to get back to the others, Jae-ho said. Something's wrong with the link. They retreated carefully. When they were far enough from the clearing, Jae-ho felt the link with Dusk return to normal strength. The relief was immediate, like being able to breathe again after being underwater. Back with the team, they found the others had felt the same effect. It's a neural disruptor, Dr. Kang said grimly after hearing their report. The Void has created a weapon that can weaken or break the links between humans and Hellhounds. How is that possible? Sunmi asked. The neural technology is human-made. The Void shouldn't understand it. They must have captured Hellhounds and studied them, Dr. Kang said. If they're deploying these disruptors across our territory, Then our greatest advantage is gone, Hajun finished. They all looked at their Hellhound partners. The enhanced dogs were more than weapons or tools. They were extensions of the humans themselves, companions bonded at the deepest level. We need to warn the colony, Sunmi said. But first, we still need to check Green Valley. If these disruptors are what took down the settlements, we need to know how they work. As they continued their journey, Jeho kept his hand on Dusk's back. The Hellhound pressed against his leg as they walked. Don't worry, he told Dusk quietly. No machine can break what we have. But deep down he felt a cold fear. The Void had found a way to attack not just their bodies, but the very bonds that made humans and Hellhounds so effective together. As the sun began to set, they came over a ridge and saw Green Valley below them. The settlement was built in a natural depression, surrounded by high ground on all sides. It should have been well protected. Now it was in ruins. Buildings burned. No people moved in the streets. And in the center of the settlement stood a larger version of the device they had seen in the forest. Its lights pulsed steadily like a heartbeat. Looks like we found what happened to the settlements, Sunmi said grimly. The question is, what do we do now? As if in answer, void ships appeared in the sky above them. Lights from the ships swept the ground, searching. They know we're here, Hajun said. The Hellhounds growled, sensing danger. But as the ships drew closer, Jeho felt his link with Dusk growing weaker again. The disruptor's effect is stronger than I thought, Dr. Kang said with alarm. At this range, your links won't last more than a few minutes. Sunmi made a quick decision. We can't fight them with weakened links. We need to fall back and find another way. As they retreated into the forest, Jeho looked back at the burning settlement. The Void had found a way to counter humanity's greatest weapon. The war had just become much more dangerous. Next to him, Dusk growled softly, his amber eyes fixed on the enemy ships. Despite the weakening link, Jeho could still feel the Hellhounds' determination. They would find a way to fight back. They had to. The team moved through the dark forest. They had been walking for hours, putting distance between themselves and Green Valley. The Void ships had searched for them but eventually left. Now they needed a safe place to rest and make a new plan. There, Sunmi pointed to a small hill with a rock formation on top. We can see in all directions from there. They climbed the hill and set up camp among the rocks. The humans ate cold rations while the Hellhounds went hunting. An hour later, the dogs returned, their hunger satisfied. What do we do now? Ji-woo asked. She sat close to Flare, one hand buried in the golden fur. We need to get back to New Gyeongju, Sunmi said. Report what we found. Dr. Kang shook her head. The colony needs more than a report. They need a solution. She pulled out a small device from her pack. I took readings of the disruptor field. With the right equipment, I might be able to create a shield against it. Where would you get this equipment? Hajun asked. The research outpost at Blue Ridge, Dr. Kang said. It's about a day's journey north of here. They have a full lab. Jeho looked at Sunmi. That's in the opposite direction from the colony. Sunmi thought for a moment. If the Void is placing these disruptors around all our settlements, then New Gyeongju is already in danger. A warning might not be enough. We need a defense against these weapons. Blue Ridge it is, she decided. We leave at first light. The night passed quietly. The team took turns keeping watch, though the Hellhounds were always alert even when resting. Through his link with Dusk, Jeho felt the Hellhound's dreams, running through forests, hunting alongside his human. Morning came with a light rain. They packed up and headed north. The forest grew thicker with taller trees and more undergrowth. It was harder to move quickly, but the dense cover kept them hidden from any Void ships overhead. Around midday, they crossed paths with 3 humans from Green Valley, survivors who had escaped during the attack. They were thin and scared, with torn clothes and minor injuries. The Void came without warning, said one man, his voice shaking. Our defense systems just shut down. Then these towers appeared and people started falling over, holding their heads. The neural disruptors affect humans too, not just the links, Dr. Kang realized. At high power, they must cause pain to anyone with neural implants. Most colonists had basic neural implants for communications and data access. The Hellhound handlers had more advanced versions for their links. What about the Hellhounds in your settlement? Jeho asked. They tried to fight, another survivor said. But they seemed confused, angry. Some attacked anyone nearby, others just ran away into the forest. Jeho looked at Dusk with worry. The black Hellhound stared back, amber eyes steady. Their link felt normal now, but what would happen if they faced a powerful disruptor? We'll escort you toward New Gyeongju, Sunmi told the survivors. There's a ranger station about 5 miles south. You can rest there and use the radio to call for help. After seeing the survivors safely to the ranger station, the team continued north. The day grew darker as storm clouds gathered. Thunder rumbled in the distance. We should reach Blue Ridge by nightfall, Dr. Kang said as they walked. The outpost is built into the side of a mountain. It should be well protected. But as they got closer to Blue Ridge, Dusk and the other Hellhounds began acting strangely. They walked with their heads low, ears flat against their skulls. Through his link, Jeho felt Dusk's unease. Something's wrong, he told the others. Dusk senses danger ahead. They moved more carefully, using trees and rocks for cover. When they reached the edge of the forest, they could see Blue Ridge Outpost about half a mile away across open ground. The facility looked intact from a distance. No signs of attack, Hajun noted. But no movement either. The links are getting weaker, Jiwoo said suddenly. Like at Green Valley. She was right. Jeho could feel his connection to Dusk fading slightly. The Hellhound pressed against his leg, as if physical contact might help maintain their bond. There must be a disruptor nearby, Dr. Kang said. But not at full power or the links would be completely broken. Could be a trap, Sunmi suggested. They leave the place looking normal, but set up a disruptor to catch anyone who comes to check. We need that equipment, Dr. Kang insisted. Without it, I can't develop a defense against the disruptors. Sunmi considered their options. We'll approach from different directions, Jeho and Jiwoo from the west, Hajun and I from the east. Dr. Kang stays here until we signal it's safe. The team split up as planned. Jeho and Jiwoo circled wide to approach the outpost from the west side, where the mountain provided some cover. Their Hellhounds moved ahead, using their enhanced senses to detect any danger. As they got closer to the outpost, the link with their Hellhounds grew even weaker. Jeho could still feel Dusk's presence in his mind, but it was like trying to hear someone speaking from far away. How's your link? He asked Jiwoo. Barely there, she replied, looking worried. Flare feels scared. Through the thinning connection, Jeho sent reassurance to Dusk. The Hellhound looked back at him, amber eyes showing understanding despite the weakening bond. They reached a side entrance to the outpost. The door was unlocked, which seemed strange. Jeho drew his weapon and signaled for Jiwoo to do the same. Stay close, he whispered. If the link breaks completely, keep one hand on your Hellhound at all times. They entered the outpost. The lights were on, but no one was in sight. The place looked like everyone had left in a hurry. Coffee cups still sat on desks. Computers were still running. Hello? Jeho called out. Anyone here? No answer came. They moved deeper into the facility, checking rooms as they went. In a large lab area, they found equipment scattered on the floor. There were dark stains that looked like blood. Something bad happened here, Jiwoo said quietly. Suddenly, Dusk and Flare both growled. Even with the weak link, Jeho could feel Dusk's alarm. Someone was coming. The door on the far side of the lab opened. A tall, thin figure stepped through. It wasn't human. Its skin was gray, its head hairless and slightly too large. Its eyes were solid black. Void, Commander, Jeho whispered, raising his weapon. More Void soldiers appeared behind the commander. They carried strange weapons that hummed with energy. The Void commander raised a hand. A wave of energy filled the room. Jeho gasped as his link with Dusk vanished completely. It felt like part of his mind had been cut away. Beside him, Dusk whined in distress. Without the guiding presence of his handler, the Hellhound seemed confused. Flare had a similar reaction, pressing against Jiwoo's legs. Run! Jeho shouted, firing his weapon at the Void soldiers. They turned and ran back the way they had come, their hellhounds following by instinct rather than through the link. Behind them, energy bolts hit the walls and floor. They burst out of the side entrance, running for the cover of trees. Jeho activated his radio. Captain, the outpost is controlled by the Void. They have a commander and a powerful disruptor. Our links are completely down. Sunmi's voice came back, tense and broken by static. Fall back to the forest, they ambushed us too. As they ran across open ground, Void ships appeared in the sky above. Searchlights swept the area, looking for them. A bright energy bolt hit the ground near Jeho, throwing him off his feet. He hit the ground hard, pain shooting through his shoulder. Dusk stopped and ran back to him, grabbing his sleeve in powerful jaws and pulling him up. Even without their mental link, the bond between them remained. Jeho put his hand on Dusk's back for support as they continued running. They reached the edge of the forest where Dr. Kang waited with wide, frightened eyes. Where are the others? Jeho asked, trying to catch his breath. Hajun is hurt, Dr. Kang said. Sunmi is helping him. They're over there. She pointed to a dense patch of trees. They found Sunmi applying a bandage to Hajun's leg. The sergeant had a bad burn from an energy weapon. His face was pale with pain. Storm stood guard beside him, growling softly at any sound from the direction of the outpost. We need to move, Sunmi said. They'll search the forest soon. Hajun can't walk far on that leg, Dr. Kang said. Sunmi looked grim. Then I'll hold them off while you escape. She turned to Jeho. Take them back to New Gyeongju. Warn the colony about the disruptors. Before Jeho could argue, more energy bolts lit up the edge of the forest. The Void forces were coming. Go now, Sunmi ordered. She and Ember moved toward the attackers, weapons ready. With heavy hearts, Jeho and the others retreated deeper into the forest. Behind them, they heard the sounds of fighting. Sunmi and Ember were giving them time to escape. As night fell, they found a small cave to hide in. Hajun's wound was bad, but not life-threatening if they could get him back to the colony soon. Dr. Kang had grabbed some equipment from her pack before running, but not enough to create the shield she had hoped for. What now? Jiwoo asked, her voice small in the darkness. Jeho looked at their hellhounds. Without the neural links, the dogs seemed more animal than partner, yet they still stayed close, still protected their humans. We find a way to restore the links, Jeho said firmly, and then we fight back. Outside the cave, a distant explosion lit up the night sky in the direction of New Gyeongju. The Void attack on the main colony had begun. 2 weeks had passed since they fled Blue Ridge. The small group had found shelter in a network of caves high in the mountains. Hajun's leg was healing slowly. Dr. Kang had used what medical supplies they had, but without proper treatment, he still could not walk far. Each morning, Jeho climbed to a high point to look toward New Gyeongju. Smoke still rose from parts of the colony. Void ships moved in the air above it. From this distance, he could not tell if anyone still fought back, or if the colony had fallen completely. Their neural links with the Hellhounds remained broken. The constant presence of Dusk in his mind was gone, leaving Jeho feeling empty. Yet the Hellhounds stayed with them, loyal even without the mental connection. They adapted faster than we did, Dr. Kang observed as she watched Dusk return to the cave with a small deer he had hunted. The black hellhound dropped his catch at the entrance and looked at Jeho, waiting for approval. Good boy, Jeho said, patting Dusk's head. The hellhound's amber eyes seemed to understand. Over the past 2 weeks, they had developed new ways to communicate with their hellhounds. Hand signals, voice commands, and body language replaced the direct mental link. It wasn't the same, but it worked. We need to do something, Jiwoo said as they prepared the deer meat for cooking. We can't hide in these mountains forever. What can 4 people and 3 hellhounds do against an entire Void army? Hajun asked from where he sat with his injured leg stretched out. Storm lay beside him, the big gray hellhound's body providing warmth. Maybe not fight, but we can gather information, Jeho suggested. Find out if there are other survivors, Maybe find a way to contact Earth for help. Dr. Kang looked up from her work. She had been using parts from their radios to build a small device. I might have something that can help. I've been studying the readings I took from the disruptor fields. I think I can create a detector that will show us where the disruptors are located. How does that help us? Jiwoo asked. If we know where they are, we can avoid them, Dr. Kang explained. Maybe even find gaps in their coverage where the neural links might work again. Jae-ho felt a spark of hope. How long until it's ready? A day, maybe 2, Dr. Kang said. I need more power cells. Jae-ho made a decision. Jiwoo and I will go down to the lower slopes. There's an old mining camp there. We might find power cells or other useful supplies. Early the next morning, Jae-ho and Jiwoo left the caves with Dusk and Flare. They moved carefully down the mountain, staying under the cover of trees whenever possible. Without the neural links, they had to rely on their own senses and the Hellhounds' natural abilities to watch for danger. They reached the abandoned mining camp by midday. The small cluster of buildings showed no signs of recent use. No void, but no humans either. You check the equipment shed, Jae-ho told Jiwoo. I'll look in the main office, be quick. I don't want to stay here long. Dusk followed Jae-ho into the main office building. The place was dusty but intact. Jae-ho found some emergency rations and a medical kit. In a storage closet, he discovered a box of power cells used for portable mining equipment. Perfect, he said, putting the cells in his pack. Suddenly, Dusk growled. The Hellhound's ears were up, his body tense. He faced the door, hackles raised. Jae-ho drew his weapon. What is it, boy? Dusk continued to growl. Jae-ho moved to the window and looked out. At first, he saw nothing. Then movement caught his eye. People were approaching the camp, not void soldiers but humans. He counted 6 of them. They moved in a tight group, weapons ready. Behind them came a familiar golden shape. A hellhound. Jiwoo. Jae-ho called softly as he left the office. We have company. Jiwoo emerged from the equipment shed, Flare at her side. Void? No, humans. And at least one hellhound. They watched as the group entered the camp. Jae-ho noticed they used hand signals similar to the ones his team had developed. They were communicating with their hellhound the same way. Jae-ho made a decision. He stepped into the open, hands raised to show he was not a threat. Hello there. The group immediately raised their weapons. The hellhound with them moved forward, ready to attack. We're friendly, Jae-ho called. I'm Lieutenant Jae-ho Kim of the last line. This is Private Jiwoo Choi. A woman stepped forward from the group. Lower your weapons, she ordered the others. She looked at Jae-ho with surprise and relief. Lieutenant Kim? We thought everyone from the last line was dead. Jae-ho recognized her now. Sergeant Yoonji Yoon from the 3rd Defense Battalion. Yoonji nodded. What's left of it? We escaped when the void hit the south gate. Been hiding in the forests since then, looking for other survivors. You have a hellhound, Jiwoo noted, looking at the golden dog. This is Blaze, Yoonji said. Her handler was killed in the attack. She found us afterward, been with us ever since. Seems to understand what we need even without a neural link. Jae-ho felt a mix of sadness and hope. The death of a handler was devastating, but the fact that Blaze had found new humans to help showed the Hellhounds could adapt. We have shelter in the mountains, Jae-ho said, and Dr. Kang is working on a device that might help us find safe areas where the neural links can work again. Yoonji's eyes widened. Dr. Mireille Kang? From the Hellhound program? She's alive? Yes. Along with Sergeant Ha-Jun Lee. Captain Sunmi stayed behind at Blue Ridge to give us time to escape. We don't know if she made it. We should combine forces, Yoonji suggested. We have some supplies and information about void movements. The more of us there are, the better chance we have of surviving. Jae-ho agreed. They gathered what useful items they could find in the mining camp, then headed back up the mountain. When they reached the caves, Ha-Jun and Dr. Kang were amazed to see more survivors. The reunion was filled with shared stories of escape and survival. The neural disruptors are everywhere around the colony, Yoonji told them as they sat around a small fire that night. The void has set them up in a ring. No one can get in or out without passing through their fields. What about the colony itself? Jeho asked. They're keeping most of the buildings intact, one of Yunji's people said, using them for their own purposes. Many colonists were captured rather than killed. They want the planet, Dr. Kang said. Not just to destroy us. They need the resources, maybe even the labor. What about other Hellhounds? Jiwoo asked. Did any others escape? A few, Yunji said. Some ran wild when their links broke. Others stayed with any humans they could find. They're still loyal, just confused without the mental connection. Dr. Kang had been quiet, working on her device. Now she looked up with excitement. I think I've got it. She held up a small box with a screen on top. This should detect the disruptor, fields, and show their strength. We can use it to find paths where the fields are weakest. And if we find weak spots? Hajun asked. Then we might be able to restore the neural links, at least partially, Dr. Kang said. Jeho looked at Dusk, who sat attentively nearby. The Hellhound's amber eyes seemed to hold understanding beyond that of a normal animal. Even without the link, Jeho felt connected to his partner. We need to test it, Jeho said. Tomorrow, we'll take the detector and see if we can find any weak spots in the disruptor coverage. And then what? Jiwoo asked. Then we find more survivors. Build our strength. Look for a way to disable the disruptors. Jeho's voice grew stronger with determination. And then we take back our home. That night, as most of the others slept, Jeho sat at the cave entrance with Dusk beside him. He put his hand on the Hellhound's back, feeling the steady breathing. I miss you in my head, boy, he said softly. But we'll find a way back to each other. Dusk turned and looked at him. For a moment, Jeho thought he felt something. A faint touch against his mind, like the ghost of their former connection. It was gone as quickly as it came, but it left him with a sense of hope. Maybe the links couldn't be completely destroyed. After all, maybe, like everything else about humans and their Hellhounds, they could adapt and grow stronger. In the distance, the lights of void ships moved above New Gyeongju. The enemy thought they had won. They thought they had broken the bond between humans and Hellhounds. They were wrong. The last line wasn't defeated. It was changing, adapting, preparing to roar again. Morning light spread across the mountains. 1 month had passed since the void attack on New Gyeongju. The survivors in the caves had grown to 20 humans and 6 Hellhounds. Each day, more people found their way to what they now called Haven. Dr. Kang's detector had proven valuable. They discovered a pattern to the disruptor fields. They were strong during the day but weakened slightly at night when power was diverted to other void systems. They also found 3 spots where the fields overlapped in ways that created small gaps. In these gaps, something amazing happened. The neural links between handlers and Hellhounds briefly returned. It's not the technology reconnecting, Dr. Kang explained the first time it happened. The neural implants were just tools to help form the bond. What's happening now is different. Your brains and the Hellhounds have changed, adapted to find each other even without the technology. These moments of reconnection were brief, but powerful. Each time Jeho felt Dusk in his mind again, the connection seemed stronger, more natural than before. Today was important. Their scouts had discovered something valuable. A void communication tower near the edge of the colony. If they could capture it, they might be able to contact Earth and call for help. The plan is simple, Jeho told the group gathered in the main cave. We approach from the north ridge where the disruptor field is weakest. Hajun will lead Team 2 as backup while Team 1 takes the tower. Hajun nodded. His leg had healed enough for him to walk without help. We'll be ready if you need us. Doctor, Kang stays here with the non-combatants, Jeho continued. Yunji, you'll coordinate from the ridge. The rest of you know your positions. What about the Hellhounds? Jiwoo asked. They come with us, Jeho said. Even without constant neural links, they're still our best fighters and scouts. As darkness fell, they moved out. 12 humans and 6 Hellhounds made their way down the mountain toward New Gyeongju. They wore dark clothes and moved quietly. The Hellhounds ran ahead, their enhanced senses alert for danger. When they reached the north ridge overlooking the colony, Jeho felt a familiar warmth in his mind. They had entered one of the gaps in the disruptor field. The neural link with Dusk sprang to life, stronger than ever. Through the link, he could feel the same happening to the other handlers, and their hellhounds. Their minds reconnected, sharing thoughts and feelings without words. Remember, Jeho told the others, the link might break when we get closer to the tower. Be ready to switch to hand signals. They descended the ridge slowly. The colony below was changed. Void structures rose between human buildings. Strange lights glowed from windows. Few people moved in the streets, and those who did were guarded by Void soldiers. The communication tower stood near the edge of the colony, a tall metal structure with dishes and antennas pointing to the sky. 4 Void guards patrolled around. 6 minutes to reach our positions, Jeho said quietly. Then we move on my signal. They split into 3 small groups, circling to approach the tower from different sides. Jeho, Jiwoo, and their hellhounds took the direct route. They moved from shadow to shadow, avoiding the pools of light from Void lamps. As they got closer to the tower, Jeho felt his link with Dusk begin to fade. They were entering the strong part of the disruptor field. He switched to hand signals, directing Dusk to move left while he and Jiwoo went right. They were 10 meters from the tower when a Void patrol appeared from around a corner. 3 soldiers, armed with energy weapons. There was no time to hide. Jeho made a quick hand signal. Dusk and Flare sprang forward without hesitation. The massive hellhounds hit the Void soldiers before they could raise their weapons. Jeho and Jiwoo rushed in to help, using stun batons rather than guns to avoid making noise. In seconds, all 3 Void soldiers were down. But the brief fight had attracted attention. An alarm began to sound from a nearby building. We need to hurry, Jeho said. The others will create a diversion. We take the tower now. They ran to the base of the tower. A locked door blocked their way, but Dusk and Flare simply tore it off its hinges with their powerful jaws. Inside, 2 Void technicians looked up in surprise. Jiwoo stunned them before they could react. Cover the door, Jeho told Jiwoo. I'll work on the communications. The control room was filled with strange technology, but some of it was clearly adapted from human systems. Jeho had studied communications during his military training. He could make this work. Outside, explosions sounded as the diversion teams attacked Void positions across the colony. The sky filled with searchlights as ships took off to respond. Jeho worked quickly, connecting human communication devices they had brought to the Void systems. He needed to send a simple message with their location and situation. Earth forces would do the rest. Suddenly, the door to the control room burst open. Jiwoo was thrown inside, landing hard on the floor. Flare rushed to protect her, standing over her body with teeth bared. In the doorway stood a tall Void figure, the same commander they had seen at Blue Ridge. Behind it were more Void soldiers. The commander raised a device. A wave of energy filled the room. Jeho gasped as his partial link with Dusk vanished again. The Hellhound shook his head in confusion. You are persistent, the Void commander said in a strange, echoing voice. But your resistance ends here. Jeho stood his ground. You tried to break our bond with the Hellhounds. You failed. Did I? The commander stepped forward. Your technology-based connection is gone. Your animals are just that. Animals. The commander raised another device. This one emitted a high-pitched sound that made the humans wince. The Hellhounds whined in pain, backing away. Your beasts can still be controlled, the commander said. Their enhanced minds are vulnerable to certain frequencies. They will turn on you now. Dusk and Flare seemed to struggle, their bodies trembling. They looked at their handlers with confusion and growing aggression. Jeho felt fear rise in his chest. Without the neural link, how could he reach Dusk? But then he remembered what Dr. Kang had said. The technology was just a tool. The real bond went deeper. He dropped his weapon and moved toward Dusk. The black hellhound growled, amber eyes unfocused. Lieutenant, stay back, Jiwoo warned, trying to stand despite her injuries. Jeho ignored her. He knelt in front of Dusk and placed both hands on the sides of the hellhound's face. Looking directly into those amber eyes, He focused all his thoughts on their time together, their training, their battles, the trust they shared. The technology never mattered, Jeho said quietly. It was always you and me, partner. For a moment, nothing happened. Dusk continued to growl. The Void Commander laughed. Then something shifted. Dusk's growl faded. The amber eyes cleared, focusing on Jeho's face. Without the neural implants, without any technology at all, Jeho felt Dusk's mind touch his. Not through artificial means, but through something more basic, more powerful. Trust. Jiwoo followed Jeho's example, reaching out to flare. The Golden Hellhound hesitated, then pressed her head against Jiwoo's hand. Impossible, the Void Commander said, stepping back in surprise. In that moment, from outside the tower came a sound that shook the air, a deep, powerful howl. Then another joined it, and another. All across the colony, Hellhounds were howling, together their voices rising in harmony. Through his renewed connection with Dusk, Jeho felt something incredible. All the Hellhounds were connecting, not just with their handlers, but with each other. A network of minds joining together, stronger than any technology. Now, Jeho said simply. Dusk leaped forward, faster than the Void Commander could react. The massive Hellhound knocked the alien to the ground. The other Void soldiers raised their weapons, but Flare was on them in an instant. Jeho rushed back to the communications console and sent the message. 3 simple words. We are here. B. Response came almost immediately. Earth ships had been in the system for days looking for a way through the Void defenses. Now they had a target. Outside, the sky lit up with new lights, human ships entering the atmosphere. The colony's defense systems, now under Void control, opened fire on them. But there were too many. The Void Commander struggled to its feet. This changes nothing. We will return with more forces. Your bond with these animals is a weakness we will exploit. Jeho smiled. You still don't understand. It was never a weakness. It was always our strength. As if to prove his point, the howling outside grew louder. Through his link with Dusk, Jeho could feel what was happening. Hellhounds all over the colony, those who had been hiding or captured, were fighting back. And they were not alone. Humans were rising up too, inspired by the howls of their partners. Earth forces landed outside the colony. The battle would be difficult, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. New Gyeongju would be reclaimed. As Void ships began to retreat from the planet, Jeho stood at the tower window with Dusk at his side. They watched the new dawn break over their home. The last line held, Jiwoo said, joining them with Flare. More than held, Jeho replied. It roared. Through his bond with Dusk, stronger now than it had ever been with technology, Jeho felt agreement. The Hellhound pressed against his leg, amber eyes looking up at him with intelligence and devotion. Together, they had faced the darkness. Together they had evolved. And together, they would rebuild their world. Humans and their Hellhounds, connected not by technology but